The waitress who answered the call. It was a rainy Thursday evening in Manhattan, the kind that made everyone a little more irritable and a little less patient. Inside a cozy but upscale restaurant tucked between glass towers, the dinner rush was in full swing. The clink of cutlery, soft jazz, and murmurs of business meetings and anniversary dates filled the air. Among the staff was Mei Lin, a 23-year-old waitress who had moved to New York from Guangzhou just 2 years earlier. She worked long hours, barely scraped by, and sent most of her earnings home to her ailing mother. She was quiet, efficient, and known for her politeness, though many customers barely noticed her. That night a well-dressed older man sat at a corner table, observing everything. His face was familiar. He was a millionaire investor, the kind of man whose name echoed in the halls of boardrooms. No one approached him unless summoned. His dinner was simple, grilled salmon, no wine. He seemed content to watch the world move. Then it happened. As Mei Lin approached his table to refill his water, her phone buzzed in her apron. She usually kept it off during shifts, but tonight something told her to keep it close. She glanced at the screen. Mama. Without thinking, she stepped aside and answered the call in Mandarin, her voice hushed and trembling. Mama, how are you? She turned her back to the dining room, whispering, her hand trembling slightly as she clutched the phone. The conversation was short. Her mother was scared. The hospital had called. Her condition was worsening. Mei Lin promised to send money. Then she hung up, wiped her eyes quickly, and turned around, only to find the millionaire watching her, his expression unreadable. He raised a hand, gesturing to the manager. By morning, Mei Lin was called in and told she was fired. We can't have staff answering personal calls on the floor, the manager said coldly. Especially not in another language. It makes customers uncomfortable. Mei Lin nodded, said thank you, and left silently. She cried in the subway, not for the job, but for her mother. How would she send the next payment? The next evening, as the restaurant opened, the millionaire returned. He requested Mei Lin's section. She doesn't work here anymore. The hostess explained. He didn't flinch. That's unfortunate, he said, because I was hoping to offer her a job. Confused, the hostess called the manager over. The millionaire handed him a business card. I run a multilingual customer service firm, he said. We service high-end clients across Asia and North America. Yesterday, I watched that young woman handle a deeply emotional call with grace and discretion, even in distress. She didn't make a scene. She prioritized her family and still kept working. That's the kind of person I want representing my company. He paused, then added, You saw a problem. I saw potential. Word traveled fast. Mei Lin received a call that night, not from the restaurant, but from his office. 3 months later, she was sitting behind a desk in a bright midtown office, managing Chinese accounts with a steady income, health benefits, and, most importantly, hope. Her mother was moved to a better hospital, and the treatments finally began to show results. But it didn't end there. The millionaire, now her mentor, introduced her to others, helped her enroll in evening classes, and told her something she would never forget. Sometimes people look down on others because they don't understand their story, but strength hides in silence, and kindness sees what judgment misses. In the months that followed, Mei Lin blossomed. The quiet, soft-spoken girl who once slipped between tables unnoticed now led a team of 5 bilingual agents at the firm. She was still humble, still the kind of person who said thank you twice and apologized if someone else bumped into her, but now her confidence had grown. She started taking night classes in business communication. On weekends, she volunteered at a local community center, helping immigrants like herself navigate the complexities of life in a new country. Forms, language barriers, housing, health care. One rainy Saturday morning, just like the day she lost her job, she received a call. This time it wasn't from her mother. It was from her former restaurant manager, "We heard about your new job," he said awkwardly. "I suppose congratulations are in order." There was a pause. "We've been reconsidering some of our policies. If you ever want to come back, we'd welcome you." Mei Lin smiled gently, not out of pride but peace. "Thank you," she said, "but I'm right where I'm supposed to be." That night she called her mother, who was now recovering steadily. They spoke about her new life, her new friends, and even her dream of starting her own business one day. For the first time in years, her mother laughed without coughing, and the millionaire, he continued to drop by now and then, not as a boss, but as a friend. Sometimes they would talk about business, other times they simply shared a pot of tea. On one such afternoon he told her, "You know, people talk a lot about what makes someone successful. Ambition, intelligence, drive. But the real game changer, character. What you did that night, answering that call even though it cost you everything, showed me more than a resume ever could." She didn't say much, just nodded and smiled, the same quiet grace she'd always carried. But now behind that smile was the strength of someone who had been underestimated and risen anyway. Final message to the audience: wherever you are in life, whether you're serving tables, stuck in traffic, or struggling to make ends meet, your value is not defined by your job title, your language, or how others perceive you. What defines you is how you treat others, how you persevere, and how you stay true to what matters most. Because kindness, it may not always be loud, but it's powerful, and sometimes all it takes is one moment, one call, one act, one person who sees your worth, to change everything. So, the next time you see someone being overlooked, remember Mei Lin, and if you ever feel unseen yourself, keep going. Someone is watching, and your breakthrough might be closer than you think. You are cordially invited to speak at the International Women in Leadership Summit in Toronto as a featured guest and panelist. Your story has inspired thousands. We believe your voice belongs on a global stage. Mei Lin stared at the letter for a long time. Not out of disbelief but gratitude. Her journey, once invisible and dismissed, was now inspiring others like her. Immigrants, young women, workers from humble beginnings, all fighting for their families and futures. When she stepped onto that stage, wearing a simple dress her mother had sewn for her, the room stood still. She didn't open with numbers or corporate achievements. She opened with a story. "I was fired for answering the phone in my native language, but that phone call led me here, not because someone gave me pity, but because someone saw potential where others saw a problem. We are not defined by our lowest moments. We are defined by how we rise after them." Tears welled in the eyes of many in the crowd, not because they pitied her, but because they saw themselves in her. In every sleepless night, every small act of sacrifice, every silent hope that one day their story might matter too. After the summit, Mei Lin returned home to a small apartment filled with photos of her journey, a lanyard from her first corporate job, handwritten notes from coworkers, a framed medical bill with "paid in full" scrawled across it, and a smiling photo of her mother holding a fresh bouquet of lilies sent from overseas. She sat by the window, sipping tea, and opened a new notebook. On the first page she wrote, "The ones who are overlooked often carry the greatest strength." She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She wasn't just a daughter holding things together. She was a voice for the voiceless, a mentor to the many young women now working under her, and a reminder that your beginnings don't determine your destiny, your belief does. And the millionaire, he once told her, "I invested in companies for decades, but investing in people, that's where the real return is." They still spoke often, not as boss and employee, but as two people forever connected by a moment of quiet courage and unexpected kindness. To you, the listener, you might be struggling. You might feel unseen, undervalued, or stuck in a place where no one seems to care who you are or what you carry inside. But remember this, your kindness matters. Your courage, however small, matters, and even when no one else sees it, keep showing up with grace, because someone will see it. Someone will hear your call, and when that moment comes, everything can change. So don't give up, not today, not tomorrow, because just like Mei Lin, you are more powerful than you know. Years from now, few will remember the meal the millionaire ordered that night. They won't remember the name of the restaurant, or who made the rules that cost Mei Lin her job, but they will remember her story, because stories like hers aren't just about individuals, they are about all of us. About the unseen heroes working quietly in the background, the sacrifices made in silence, and the dreams we chase despite every obstacle. In every city, every country, every corner of the world, there's a Mei Lin. Someone holding the weight of a family, someone learning a new language just to survive, someone giving their best in a world that too often looks the other way. But this story, your story, can be different. It only takes one moment, one person, one chance, and sometimes it starts with simply answering the call. So if you're watching this now, wondering if your effort is worth it, if you're tired, discouraged, or feeling invisible, let this be your sign. Don't stop, don't shrink, don't wait for permission to be great. The world may not always see you right away, but that doesn't mean you're not already changing it, just like Mei Lin did. Because your value, it was never in the title on your name tag, it was always in your heart, and when that shines through, no one can ever take it away.